So this is an update to the holographic dual disc concept. I'm still working on a lot of different projects. I'm still working, of course, on the dual disc. They're still, they're still on my to-do list. I have been buying some equipment so I can do some experiments and stuff on some concepts and be able to start producing prototypes. I definitely would like to get a 3D printer eventually. That will help out a lot when it comes to actually prototyping stuff. But I'll talk about that some other time. Right now, let's just get on to this new concept I just thought about. I was just walking around, pacing back and forth, thinking, about a lot of different stuff. But then I started thinking about sound limitation, as you'll see here. Let me show you some examples. As you can see just from the thumbnail of this video, you see that they're using sound to float or to levitate or to hold in place in thin air, right? These water molecules. Over here on the top, you'll see they're levitating these little plastic balls, beads, little plastic beads or something like that, and they're using sound to hold them. Now, of course, you can go check out these videos yourselves. I'll try to leave the link to these videos so you can see. I mean, it's good. So what's cool about this is that it started leading me to the idea of like, oh yeah, this is one of the things I wanted to do. Okay, so for those who know about my old concept, the dirty laser idea, which was the idea to use light on light projection. That was the idea. But the only way light on light projection works is one of the lasers got to have impurities, aka dust. So that's why I call it dirty, like dirt, dirty, dust. And the idea was that you wanted dust particles in the light beam, like the laser light beam, for one of them, and the other one's just a regular, laser light. So one will have particles, the other one won't, and the one that doesn't have it is the one that's projecting the image, and the one that does have the particles is the one that reflects the image. Because the idea is that the particles in the light beam, would help reflect the image from the other light source. So that was the light on light projection concept using the dirty laser idea, which is still a valid idea. The thing is, it's about creating that process, because the thing about it is that at the moment, when it comes to the light process, the dirty laser idea, we don't have a way to hold in place these particles with the laser light yet. If I put in some more effort, like more research, I could probably find how to use laser light to hold dust particles in midair. Then that'd be awesome. Then we can go back to the dirty laser method, right? But right now, just getting, because part of the problem is getting light, or photons, I should say, getting photons to interact with the dust particle, right? Since light doesn't have mass, the photon doesn't have mass, it doesn't have much force, so it'd be hard for it to interact with the dust particle. But anyway, that's for some other conversation. Right now, I want to talk about the idea of creating the concept, right? Creating that process of being able to hold dust in the air. I wonder if there's, see, out of curiosity, has anyone ever done that? This is part of how I do research. Pixie dust levitation. Oh snap! It's all right. Let's see. It looks like somebody did it. Dust levitation. I think that's supposed to be song bowls. Sing bowls, song bowls, same thing. All right. Let's see. So this might show what I'm trying to. Shit, acoustic hologram. Snap. Okay, I think I should have. I should have researched this idea. Okay, there you go. I've seen this before. There we go. Here you go. Yeah, I've actually seen this video before. Oh my god, yeah, this was the thing. Alright, well, I originally saw the other videos where here is a good illustration of that, because it's the idea of using sound, the waves, because sound actually vibrates in a wave, and the idea is you want to hold objects like dust, right, little beads and stuff like that within the gaps. You see how the waves, if you look at them, they kind of turn and they kind of create circles. Those gaps, it's where it's where the item will. Well, for me, that's where the item should be held. According to this illustration, it gives the impression that where the waves connect is where it grabs, and that's probably how it works. To me, I always envision it where the thing you're trying to float is where there's a circular gap, right? But apparently, it's where the sounds cross, and essentially they're applying a little bit of force to pinch or hold the item. So I guess that's how that works. Anyway, so the idea of like, oh yeah, that'd be cool to do that. It'd be nice to create something that can use sound, right, to hold in the air reflective material, dust, for example, or actual what's it called, aluminum, confetti, or whatever they call it, particles. There you go. I just use particles. Silver particles, whatever, and just have it float. Preferably in a uniform pattern, so that way when you project the image, project the like a 3D model, it'll reflect it, and then you'll be able to see it. And let me play the video a little bit. Well, let me not actually play because I don't have the rights to it, but just give you an idea. Move it around a little bit so you can see bits and pieces. You can obviously check this out. I'll try to remember to leave the links to this stuff, because you can see they're able to make shapes. So you see here's little pieces of, I think these are confetti, little pieces of white paper, little shredded pieces of white paper just floating in the air because of sound. And then here is showing some fancy stuff. Here you see like there's dust. They're shaking dust, and this dust is like floating to a certain degree. Here they made the letter S. Here's an A. It's like literally floating in the air. Some other stuff. They're able to move it around. Pretty cool stuff that they're doing. They're actually able to levitate and stuff. So that's the idea of using sound instead of using light to hold to have dust particles flying around in a specific location, so you can project onto them. Using sound to generate that outcome. So it's like, yeah, that it seems, well, I mean, as you can see from the videos on YouTube, if you watch that stuff, obviously you can use sound to levitate things. Like, imagine getting a whole bunch of silver confetti as an example, and then using this method to float around the confetti, and then shine a projector onto it, and then you'll be able to project, be able to see what you're projecting onto it, right? Because it's about reflection. So that's the whole idea of that's my concept of a hologram. It's like it's the only way I know that I would be able to make a hologram, which was the idea of like, I just need to be able to project from a projector, right? 3D model of whatever, like Blue Eyes or something, and I just needed to be able to project and have it displayed in midair, as opposed to having it projected on the floor or on a wall. I wanted to project it in midair, especially if the idea is to project it in front of you in midair. So that way it's like your opponent can see the blue eyes and you can see the blue eyes, as an example. So basically the ability to just instantly create a projector screen so you can project onto it is my concept of hologram. It's what I thought of. The more advanced version of a hologram obviously would be the ability to project out photons into the air and have it stay in a certain position in three-dimensional space and have it, basically pixelate, right, and create an image of what you want to show, like an image of Blue Eyes White Dragon or something like that. Let's see. Well, anyway, you get the idea. I just wanted to make a quick little video about this idea of, like, sound to ultrasounds specifically is what I'm thinking about, using ultrasounds to float around, preferably dust particles. I wanted to focus mainly on dust particles, just because of the fact that in the air there is a lot of dust particles. There's dust outside, there's dust inside. More likely you'll use this system outdoors more often than not. So you have access to more dust. So being able to, because the thing you have to remember is that oxygen, air is constantly moving, right? The molecules are constantly moving, so they would be moving dust around the air. So dust in the air is constantly moving. But the idea is to have it stop moving, stay still in a specific spot for long periods of time, so you can use it to reflect photons off of it, to reflect something, or not off of it, but to reflect onto it, the photons from the projector. So the idea is to kind of uniformly put them into one location, keep them there, and then project onto the dust particles, or any type of particle, in case we create something that can just emit particles, like paper, emit particles and then freeze, and then hold those particles in one spot and then project onto it. And it's like, that concept. I mean, it's a plausible, right? Not plausible. It's an obtainable way of creating holograms. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like, if you understand what I'm saying about this concept, then you understand that yes, it is possible to do if you have the stuff to do it. So you're gonna need some sound that preferably creates a frequency wave that works in a way to hold, glitter. I use glitter as an example, but you get the idea of particles. You want something shiny but small, like really small, because that increases your resolution when you have a lot of small little shiny reflective particles. That way, the image looks a little bit more crisp. That way, at least the quality would be like maybe close to 360p or something. That'd be decent enough. We're not going to get no 1080p or 4K quality hologram. After that, you're going to need really, really fine, particles, and lots of them, like trillions probably, or millions. It depends, to try to get 4K quality holograms, ish. Projection. I'm just trying to get what I can get, right. The best I can. The best I can get is 144p or 360p quality, holograms. That's an achievement in itself. I don't need to go for 4K, but anything is possible in the near future, right, with more effort. But the idea is that's the idea. It's like we're trying to hold dust in the air and then project onto the dust with light, and that's I call it the dirty sound projection concept, which is just a different version of the dirty light projection concept. So it's just a different version. Instead of using light to manipulate dust or particles, we're going to use sound to manipulate particles. Both ideas still both ideas are good if you can make them work. So I'm going to, right now my mind is focused on experimenting with the sound version and see how that works out. So let's see, where am I at? Where's the Amazon? Oh yeah, Amazon's right over here. So as you can see, I'm looking at ultrasound speakers, ultrasonic speakers. As you can see, here's some more ultrasonic speakers. Here, solar panels, LEDs, tuning forks, all types of stuff. I already bought some equipment that I already have, and these are just some more stuff that I'm looking into. Trying to create my little portable lab, so I can be able to experiment and test out a lot of my ideas and theories. And I'm working on some pretty big projects. But just because I had this little idea, like, oh yeah, using sound instead of light to manipulate the dust particles in the air to try to use it to do a hologram. It's like, why not use sound? As you can see, there are some videos out there about sound, so this just proves that the idea can work or does work. Because as you can see, some people already, right there alone, you see that, they're floating some stuff. Some dirt right there. Essentially that's what I'm kind of looking for, is that effect. But I want it from down up, so get a whole bunch of particles floating and then project onto it, so kind of get the idea. And that'll be the end of this video for now.